Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. I do hope that you are well and that you are still trusting only in Yah. This is truly the day that Yah has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Shabbat shalom to you. It is the Sabbath. Glory, glory, glory. And I hope that you're well and that you are calling Yah Sabbath a delight. I've been enjoying the Sabbath. I went out earlier, did my outreach. I came home and I'm going to sit down and talk with you, praise Yah, because I wanted to share for quite a bit on domestic violence. And I was praying about it, and I wanted an opportunity, and especially when I was asked to speak at the Royal Bahamas Police Force Domestic Violence Symposium. And I was like, okay, that's, I could really share, and I was waiting for an opportunity to do that. And so I had intended that on November 1st, I would say, oh, yes, on November 1st, and just do a video, rejoicing that it's November 1st and I'm not crying and I am not feeling regretful and I'm not depressed because for the last few years, it's been about last 3-4 years that I've not had those experiences. And this one was better, so I know now that I've been completely healed, because when I remembered, I laughed. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can laugh. And it wasn't a laugh of no pain or just like a spiteful. It was really joy. Joy. I said, oh wow, November 1st. And I remembered, okay, yes, that was when I got married. But I don't feel the same hurt, I don't feel the same pain, and definitely I don't have the regret. So I thank the Most High for healing me in my mind and causing me to no longer feel regret that I can remember it now, and now I can talk about it without having the same emotional or feeling the same anger and the regret, because I had a lot of regret about getting married. And so November 1st was a source of a day that I just did not like. I didn't like the memory of it. And so, when you see October 30th came, and I know it was October 31st, I used to go like a heaviness would come over me for years. So I thank the Father for healing. And so I said I would do that. And then the Lord said to me, this is the opportunity you can talk about domestic violence, because I was a victim of domestic violence. And like I said at the symposium, I have never been hit. I have never had a black eye. I've never had nobody use no weapon or anything on me. But I was a victim of domestic violence. And so, and I said that they looked at me because we associate domestic violence with physical abuse. And that's not the only form of domestic violence. And I believe I was asked to speak because the stakeholders are now trying to change or bring awareness to where domestic violence actually starts. And so last month, I think it was, I was at a domestic violence think tank event, and they were talking about it, and the host of the event, she was given examples of experiences that she experienced. She was Greek, and their Greek culture. And she was talking about how they would fuss and cuss and carry on, and he would beat her, but later that day you would be they would be dancing and things. And she was like, we gotta really look at the root of domestic violence. And she said domestic violence is not just physical, it has to do with your word. And I was like, yes. And I had heard someone else said that, the former commissioner of police said where domestic violence actually began. But we don't focus on that, because if we focus on that, then many of us would realize that our home situation is one of domestic violence. And so we tend to just reduce it down to physical. And so it's this thing about being hitting you and beating you. And so I was constantly asked, he He hit you. My lawyer was saying, the police was telling me to tell her to separate you two, let him go in one apartment. He hitting you, because we don't focus on the other aspects of domestic violence, or it's not known. And so they are trying to bring attention to it. And when at the think tank, and they say, we need to talk to victims, I got up. I said, since you want to talk to someone who experienced it, let me tell you my experience. And I told her I've never been hit by a man, but this is what I experienced. And I shared with them that from the beginning of my marriage, my ex-husband set a precedence in our home where he said, woman was made for man and man not for the woman, right? And he said to me, you don't need anything. And he would have said this after he was an accountant. He's an accountant, a CPA. He combined both our salaries, and he, at the end, when we already accounted for everything right down to the water, we had a couple $100 left, and I expected him to say to me, you can take this to take care of your personal needs, and I will take this to take care of mine. Instead, he said to me, when I said to him, so what's going to be for me? Because he there gloating and smiling over what was left. And he said, you, like, I shouldn't even ask that. You don't need anything. You don't need anything. I was like, what? You expect to just take my money and I'm not getting anything? I'm just gonna work and give you money? Well, you don't need anything. You understand me? And so because I objected, that's where it all started. We called all kind of names, verbal abuse. And it's like nothing I did was good. Unsubmissive, rebellious, controlling, and he had this condescending tone as if I was beneath him, and condescending to the point where he didn't feel I needed conversation or to even look at me. And so I want to share with you what domestic violence really is. And I want to draw attention to it because many of us doesn't seem to know. And so let me start with, and I realize I did not say what I normally say because I just went right into it, but I give the Father thanks. I give him thanks. If you're going to beat up anyone, and if you're going to brag on anyone, if you're going to boast on anyone, let it be Yah. I boast, I brag on, and I beat up only Yah. If you would have read my post, I wrote that poem November 1st of 2005. And just as I said, I got up, I was depressed. 2005 was the year I thought I would die. And so this is the end of the year. And I'm saying I'm still here. You understand? Still here because 2005, it was written somewhere that I was supposed to die. I was sick. I think he expected me to die. My prayer partner was preparing me to die. At least she told me to make a will. And my body was racked with pain. I had cold coming out of my nose that was green as a leaf. Like this color green. The doctor said they had never seen a hair infection so bad. It sounded like I had a hammer in my head. And I was like, it was right now, it was like, I can't believe I'm still here. And it was a mixed feeling just to be here and still be in this situation, to be alive and still here, to still be in this house. I wanted to leave. But I still had some ways to go. So I was not completely free, but I can tell you today, and I give the Father praise, and this is what I'm rejoicing in, that I have been set free, I have been healed, I have been delivered, I have been set free, and whom the Son set free is free indeed. I've been set free and I've been healed, and I know that I'm healed because yesterday, November 1st, I was able to rejoice. I felt no pain, no regret. I give Father Yah for that. I give him praise for that. So I'm going to start with this. Ephesians 5:28. So ought men to love their women as their own bodies. He that loves his woman loves himself. I saw this quote on Facebook and it spoke to me. Your partner is supposed to be a safe space and not another battle in your life. And this is how I started my presentation at the Release Symposium. And I shared with them how I was looking for a safe space because having been born in domestic violence, having experienced 5 cases of sexual assault by the time I was 10, I was tired of being sexually assaulted. I was tired of having men pull on me and they used the excuse, oh, you're so pretty, you're so this and da da da. And so that was a way for them to they felt they had to touch, just had to touch. And so I hated it. And so I ended up in relationships looking for a place to be safe. I was looking for protection. And so here it is now. I met this very godly man, they say, a Christian man, a man of godly character that everyone spoke so highly of. He was known in the church to be very observant, dedicated. And the women them loved him, and the women ministry was praying for a wife for him. So when I came along, I was vetted because they wanted to know that I was of good character like he is. And so they went out and did an inquiry as to who I was and if I was a good Christian woman, because I was marrying a good Christian man. But my marriage was a battle for my life. It was a battle for me. And it was only because of the Most High I didn't lose the battle. It was only because of the purpose of my life I did not lose the battle, because I can tell you today, if I was still married, I would have not been in my right mind. I would have not been in my mind, because the battle was for my mind. And I came very close to having a nervous breakdown. My body was showing all the signs of it, and I can tell you an experience I had in 2005 when the darkness came over me, and when it lifted, I was crawling around my bedroom on my hands and knees. My daughter was sitting in the middle of the floor, and I looked at her and she just was playing, and I knew it was the Father. I don't know what happened, but that's where my mind had gone because of depression. And so I give Father thanks, sometimes I smile, and I said to someone recently, the Most High didn't allow people to see my nervous breakdown. He covered me. Because when you lose your mind, people don't let you come back from that. That's why I tell people, don't lose your mind. Give away the car, give away the house, but hold on to your mind. You understand me? And so this is why I was saying yesterday, some things you have to let go. Don't let go your mind, but let go everything else. Let go the pain, let go the hurt, let go the feelings of rejection, let go the regret, and if need be, let go of the marriage. Let it go. You understand me? Let it go. And I am so happy that I let my marriage go. I'm so happy that yesterday I was not celebrating 27 years of marriage. I'm happy that I let it go, that the Father walked me through that. I took myself in it, but I thank Him that He brought me through it. And He brought me out with my sound mind, because they were trying to get me to lose my mind. So I thank the Father for it. I give Him praise, I give Him honor, I give Him all the glory. That I let go everything. The Father told me to leave the property. Let it go, I let it go. And sometimes you gotta let it go to save yourself. So I want to encourage you, if you are listening to this and if you're in a situation and you're trying to hold on to marriage or any relationship that is destroying you, because the Most High said to me, the people around you are watching you be destroyed. Because I was listening to outside voices. And this is after I would have shared. The question was how the topic I spoke on was the life of a victim and how to overcome. I overcome when I began to listen to the voice of the Father in me, when I stopped listening to the outside voices. This is why I emphasize to know His voice for yourself. And this is why I say to people, I only trust Yah. And I only listen to the Spirit of the Most High in me now. Because while I was in my marriage, I was listening to outside voices, and they were telling me divorce was not an option. Oh, as a Christian, you shouldn't divorce. And, oh, God can fix it. And all you got to do is fast and pray. And you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't. And you have to carry him. And I was supposed to, like the Father said to me, die a good, godly, submissive wife. You understand? And that was supposed to happen in 2005. But when my prayer partner told me that, I looked at it, I think we were talking on the phone. I said, I'm not dying. I'm not dying. And I went to him because I knew the power of words. I needed to speak it. So I went to him and I went in his face and I said to him, someone is going to die, but it ain't going to be me. It wasn't going to be me. I may have been sick. I may have been in pain, but I was not dying. But they wanted me to die. The people who wanted me to die because they wanted my baby, my daughter. I raised him, my child myself. And so sometimes you can let it go to save your life. And I know that is not a spiritual or religious thing to say. I had someone say to me recently, you don't want to tell nobody to leave their marriage because you don't want to get in nothing with God. So my thing to you who feel that way, if you don't want to tell a woman to leave, don't tell her to stay. See, they didn't want to tell me to leave. Every time I said I was leaving, I got a word from God saying, God say stay. They couldn't support me in leaving. You understand me? But they wanted me to stay. So if you can't support a woman in leaving to save her life and to come out of a toxic relationship, even though the relationship is not glorifying the Most High, it is not bringing honor to Him, because He didn't intend for us to experience any kind of abuse in our relationship, then don't tell her to stay. Don't say nothing. Or say to her, I will support you in whatever your decision is. But don't make her feel as if she's doing something wrong if she decides that she's going to leave a toxic relationship. But I'm going to talk about that to the end. But I had to say that while I remember. Praise God. So I want to speak to you about domestic violence, because we live in a culture of domestic violence. And a lot of us think it is acceptable. And a lot of us think that physical abuse, once a man is hitting you, then you can leave as long as he ain't hitting you. But what you leaving for? He paying the bills, he doing this, what are you leaving for? And that was my situation. You understand me? Which is why when my divorce was granted, or I went through my divorce, I didn't tell nobody. Until it was granted, then I let everybody know I am divorced. Right? So what is domestic violence? Domestic violence is defined as violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or partner. What is classed as domestic violence? And this is Google. Domestic abuse can include, but is not limited to, the following: coercive control, a pattern of intimidation, people trying to coerce you, intimidation, degradation, degrading you, isolation, and controlled with the use of threat or physical or sexual violence, psychological or emotional or mental abuse, physical or sexual abuse. That is what domestic violence is classified as. Now, many people only look at physical abuse as domestic violence, but domestic violence is actuality, coercive, controlled, psychological, emotional, mental, and psychological is also known as emotional and mental abuse, but then it's physical and sexual abuse. All domestic violence. So if you are in any of those situations, you are in a domestic violence situation. What caused domestic violence? Domestic violence and other types of violent relationships are based on power and control. That's the root of domestic violence. Power and control. If one partner feels the need to dominate the other in any shape or form, it is significantly more likely a relationship that will turn violent. If one partner feels the need to dominate the other in any shape or form, it is significantly more likely that relationship will turn violent because no one wants to be controlled, dominated. And some men and female can understand that. Why would you want to be with someone that you can control and dominate? What can you get from that? And while I remember this, how you gonna be with someone that you say you having sex with and you can cuss and carry on? How you all gonna be out there hitting, fussing, cussing the person that you saying that you quote unquote making love to? How does that happen? Because I wasn't able to do it. I one of the most difficult things for me to do in my marriage was to have sex with my ex-husband. I cooked, I cleaned, I didn't buy from his clothes. I walked to and from the wash house because he would drop me and not come back, pick me up. He bought his portion of the grocery was sugar, cream, butter and eggs. I bought the rest and I would cook. But when it came down to the sex, I couldn't do it. So that was, of course, and that's when he used to tell me, oh, you're withholding yourself. And Paul say this and Paul say that. And I told him, Paul ain't never had no wife. Paul ain't never had no wife. Don't tell me nothing what Paul say. Because you don't talk to me. You don't think I need anything. You are condescending. You don't look at me when you speak. You think everything is too good for me. You understand me? Instead of giving me a compliment when I come from the beauty salon, you didn't give me no money to get my hair done, but you want to be negative because I spend my money. You understand me? He found ways to spend my money, but since he couldn't control it, he expected me to actually go to work, come home, and give it to him. Right? But anyway, I'm jumping ahead. So, where does domestic violence really begin? And this is where the stakeholders of domestic violence are now to focus on where it really begins. Domestic violence begins with the mouth, with words. You know how you could say mean things and curse at each other? Like in the back, I had a woman on the back here, the young lady told the other day, told her boyfriend, her baby daddy, carry his stinky ass. But yesterday when he was leaving, she playing up in his face and doing at him, and I looked and I said, wow. You see what I'm saying? The way we speak to each other violently with our mouth, and we can threaten to choke and do this, and I can kick you and I can do that. We don't see that as domestic violence, but that's domestic violence. With your mouth, your words. Verbal abuse is actually the beginning of domestic violence. See, because if you can say it, you can do it. As a child, we had a saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. And I'm sure by now you would have realized that negative words do hurt. and they have a long lasting psychological and emotional effect. You can imagine as a child, somebody calling you names, and right up to your adulthood, you still have that. You remember that with pain, that's still causing you some kind of psychological effect. You understand me? Some of us don't like the way we look because when we were small, children called us ugly, or they say you look like duck, or you understand me? Name calling, verbal abuse. Verbal abuse. Very, very, um, very, um, what's the word? Um, very damaging. Verbal abuse. And it is the start of domestic violence. Negative words do hurt, and they have a long-lasting psychological and emotional effect. Words can be very violent. I was driving the other day and I heard a little girl tell a boy they were coming out of school too early. And she told him, I can choke you. And I said, well, listen to the domestic violence. See, that's where it starts. Words can be very violent and have a stronger and more damaging impact than physical violence. The damage of words hurt and lasts longer than a physical wound, because the physical wound is going to heal. The wounds you get from words sometimes never heals. Verbal abuse is the harmful use of language to control, intimidate, or hurt someone. Examples of verbal abuse include insults, humiliation, and ridiculed. Silent treatment. You imagine living in a house with someone and they don't talk to you. I experienced that. If he and I built all of our discussions, because my ex-husband and I never had a conversation, we never sat down and talk and come home and just talk about our day and laugh, or sit at the table and eat, or sit down and watch TV and laugh. We never did any of those things. And so when I confronted him, our conversation for him, and he responded, and when he would start, he always started, the bottom line is, if I go to him with anything, he started with the bottom line. And that used to frustrate me, because let's have a conversation, let's talk. I said, how come you always start with the bottom line? And he would say what the bottom line is, and that was it. No discussion, nothing. And so, of course that leads an argument, and then if I didn't go back to him and apologize, he would sit in the house and never say nothing. He never came to apologize. And if it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, my ex-husband never came to try and find out, nothing. And he still expected sexual intimacy. And so when I would go, he'd be like, I wondered what took you so long. And so if I didn't go, and so our marriage deteriorated to the point where I stopped going. And that happened in 2008. 2008, I stopped. I stopped all communication. So after the time that I divorced, our communication was just arguments, and if he sent to me or whatever. But 2008 was that. I cut off all communication. Did not go. Because I knew he wasn't coming to me and I was done. Didn't go to him. Verbal abuse leads to psychological, also known as mental or emotional abuse. When you are constantly in an environment with cussing, fussing, being put down, being controlled, being dominated by words, made to feel as if nothing you do is good or right. You understand me? That you don't have a value. When you're treated as if you don't need nothing, you have absolutely no support, and you are constantly in this environment, it begins to affect your mind, your emotional state. And so the examples of the effects of psychological abuse is you begin to doubt yourself. you lose confidence in your ability. And I experienced this because in 2005, when I was ready to go back to work, I needed to get a job, and I had an opportunity to teach at a private school here, and I wouldn't take the job. They called me. I would not take it because I had already experienced memory loss where, you know, I was talking to someone, I couldn't remember the words to respond to. I was just looking at them and nothing except I was fighting to remember words. And so I didn't want to go in the classroom knowing that I realized that I was having problems with my memory. And so I wasn't confident at that moment. And it was the Father's will for me to go because she called me the human resource person until I went. And I stayed there for a whole semester, you know. But, okay, you develop a low self-esteem, develop memory loss, easily to manipulate and controlled, have difficulties controlling your emotions. You can get very go into anger or just be very withdrawn. Difficulties making decisions. You become very loud and aggressive or very passive, quiet and withdrawn. You feel powerless, confused, shame, guilt, always trying to compensate, anxiety, frequent crying. I was known as a crier. In fact, I convinced myself that crying was good for my soul. Until someone told me, no, the Bible said laughter. But I used to cry so much, I used to wake up crying. I remember one time I was standing in front of the mirror in the bathroom. I was fixing my hair, and the snot dropped out of my nose on my shirt. And when it landed on my shirt, I jumped. And when I looked, I realized I was crying. I was crying. I was, oh my goodness, I am actually crying. I didn't even, because that's how my mind was, you know, and it was difficult. You know what I mean? So, verbal and psychological abuse is the worst form of abuse, and unfortunately, there is not enough emphasis placed on it. And the reason enough emphasis is placed on it because we don't realize that it's actually domestic violence. You understand me? I've been told many times that teeth and tongue can bite. We have been conditioned to live in an environment where you can fuss and argue and shout at each other. We have a culture of toxic relationships. And what baffled my mind is that people having sex in these relationships. I remember I lived near a road, and this was like Christmas time, and you could hear them passing and robbing and cussing each other. And I said to myself, I wonder if these people is upset. Y'all having sex with each other? I can't see that. I can't imagine me having sex with someone that I could like, I'll just run over a curse. When you see me got to the place where my marriage was done and over, that was when I really started disrespecting my husband in terms of my speech. You understand me? In terms of my speech. And that happened in, I think in 2013, 2012. 2012 or 2013. Yeah. That's when I really, I was cussing him then. I was done. And so the first time I actually cursed my ex-husband, and I knew that I could not divorce him or leave the marriage without cursing my ex-husband. In 2007, in my dream, I was cursing everybody in my dreams. And so the first time my ex-husband actually heard me curse him, I sent the children to walk the dog, and I thought they'd gone. I said, y'all go. And he was in the bathroom. I went in the bathroom, and I listened to me, sweetie, y'all pray. I don't cuss like that no more. I had to fast that spirit off of me. But I cussed him, and he was shocked. And he literally was spinning around in circles. So I was done. You understand me? I was done. At that point, I was done. So it was not going to be no chance of no intimacy. At 2013, 19, 11, 12. In fact, at that point, he and I had not been intimate in 5 years. Because I was done. But this is now like, So, once a person is broken down verbally and psychologically, then physical, sexual, social, economic, and spiritual abuse is very easy. We look at a woman who's being physically abused and we know that she is because we can see the black eye in other abuses. And this is why we think that physical abuse is the only form of abuse. And as long as the man is not physically abusing you, you don't need to leave. And I was told this. Oh, you gotta leave. He ain't hitting you as long as he ain't hitting you. You understand me? But when a woman is being hit and you see her staying, and you asking yourself, well, why she didn't stay? Why she just don't leave? Because you didn't realize when he was cussing her and calling her names and making fun of her, he was breaking her down to the place now that he can beat her and she not leave. You see what I'm saying? So that's why she ain't leaving. She ain't leaving because when you see that they have already, a woman or man who stay in a physical abusive relationship is basically just a shell. Everything in them then dead. You understand me? The chance that you could see the bruise on them, but they probably ain't even feeling that. Because like I say, I got burned. I went to get my hair relaxed. I don't know if I said it on this because I had to repeat, but I went to get my hair relaxed in 2009. In 2009, and the relax on my hair was burning me, and I didn't even feel it. When my friend shampoo was washing the perm off my hair, I had a big scar in the back here. Somewhere in the back here, I could still feel the scar. And she was so upset. She said, how come you don't tell me it was burning you? And I look at her. I said, because I didn't feel it. And she said, how you not feeling this? How come you're feeling it? See, people don't understand the effects of psychological abuse. And I look at her just like I was standing in the mirror and didn't realize I was crying. You understand? That's the fact of psychological abuse. You've been so broken down, and when she shampooed my hair, all the back of my hair washed off. That's how long the perm was there, and it burned my hair, burned me. You understand me? And she was so upset, but we don't know about someone how damaging psychological abuse is. This is why someone who in these relationships, they could commit suicide. Because in your mind, you done messed up. You understand me? You didn't feel as if, you constantly being put down and you don't work nothing and you don't know good. You understand me? You feel like you don't have no value. Your only escape now is to die. And this is why women die who have never been broke beaten. See, because if you getting hit, someone can see that hit and intervene. But once you're there getting cussed at and robbed and fuss and you can't have no money and you can't have nothing and you don't need nothing, that's breaking you down. That's devaluing you. And we don't think nothing is wrong with that. But if someone come to hit you, like the other day when the man was beating his wife and now the man and the brother dead, the brother tried to intervene. You understand me? But when you can beat someone and they stay, you didn't damage them. You didn't damage them. If someone haul off and hit you, just went and hit you, you can fight back. Because when my ex-husband, even though I was then so broken, I have a fight in me. So when he shot me, that fight in me, which is the reason I am alive, because every time I went to let go and to give up, that fight in me, something literally used to stir up in me. Which is why when my prayer partner was saying to me to make a will, and I hear death, that rise up in me, and I hold up, I got up. I was in bed, pains in my body, could barely walk. I had to go tell them, no, not me. I'm dying. So when he come pushing me, I turn and I grab him by his throat, and he was shocked. He was shocked. See, but this is what I realized people didn't want. You see, because as long as you can stand up and you're aggressive, like they say, you can stand and protect yourself. My fault in my marriage is that I stopped being aggressive. I tried to be this passive person, which is not my nature. You understand me? And because when 3 months after I got married, and I noticed my husband going to the anyway, I wanted a divorce, and it was like, oh, you always just run away. You need to give it time and let it work and da 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 da. So I said, you know something, for true, I always just run because you don't treat me bad, you don't talk to me bad. I said, well, let me just try and make it work. Big mistake. But the Father was saying to me to leave and say, I listened to the outside voices and I stayed. And every time he was saying to me, look and go, and someone come and say, God say stay. And so I listened to them, and too, because I wanted my marriage. You understand me? I didn't want that environment. And I began to pray and ask the Father to change him. And the Father said, me can't change him because he don't see anything wrong with him. And I said, well, make him love me. He can't make him love me because a man chooses who he's going to love. So, whenever you see someone is staying and they're constantly being hit, the damage has already been done. The damage has already been done. That person don't have no value for themselves. They don't feel as if they are valuable. They don't feel as if they have any use. They have already been broken down. It's only a shell now, just their body. And so they beating their body. They probably ain't even feeling that. So they have already been so broken down spiritually and mentally that it is all they can do. They are probably numb to the pain, like I was numb to pain. You understand me? And if you have someone who's naturally very quiet and passive, you understand me? You can see them just don't have that fight. But my ex-husband is a master manipulator. Master manipulator. You understand me? There were people who were sorry for me until they met him. And the minute he opened his mouth and started to spew out the Bible and discuss the Bible, they look at me, child, I had somebody study his preach. Oh, he could bring the word. He could bring the word. So the minute they meet him and he come with his little, and that's it. Child, they look at you, John, you gotta be the problem because this man is a man of God, child. Ain't nobody's talk the word like him. Child, he full of the word. You see? Because we can easily, the spiritual religion, we easily manipulated, and we emphasize speaking the word instead of living it. Right? Physical abuse is very easy to detect, and we are very aware of it. I was asked very often if my husband was hitting me, which he was not, because if he did, it would have been easy for me to fight back. But every time he said to me he can beat my butt, I used to tell him, come. He said it jokingly, but I knew he was serious, and I was serious. You understand me? Because he did a lot of mind games. He did a lot of things to try and break me down. In fact, he told someone he knew he was playing mind games with me. This man used to take my keys. I couldn't find my keys. He tried to convince me that I was deaf. If I'm sitting in the house watching TV, you should just come and either change the channel or cut off the TV. He used to act like I was not there, like I didn't exist. Whenever I was asked to go out, like I worked with other in the Christian school and pastors and ministers, and they had something happening at their church and they would invite me. I never once said to them, okay, yeah, I come in. I would say, let me find out for my ex. Let me find out for my husband. And I would go and call him and find out if it was okay, if he had anything planned, knowing that he didn't. But that was the level of my respect for him. Never took any invitation without first talking to him or seeing if he perchance had something for us to do. Every time. And I would go home and cook. And when I got back home at night, the house would be in complete darkness. Light off in the front, in the house, complete darkness, and he is in his room sleep. I remember the first time I was so frightened, I ran because there were burglaries in the compound. We live on a ground with plenty of apartments, and there were burglaries. And so I ran but the headlights to quickly open the door. And when I pulled it, the night latch was off. I was crushed. I stepped in the house. I'm in darkness. I had to do for the light. Go into the room. He's deep in sleep. I said, how come you're in here sleeping and I'm out? Well, I didn't realize you were out. I didn't know you wasn't home. That's the kind of stuff. Listen to me. That messed in my mind. And he knew what he was doing. You understand me? And he did this every time. He would not tell me, no, don't go. But every time I went out at night, I came back and meet the house in darkness. Darkness until I was pregnant with my daughter. And when I asked him, I said, when I went out, when I was pregnant, I came back. I said, the light is on tonight? He said, because you're pregnant. Because you're pregnant. And so for 6 years, because now this is our 6th year of marriage and I'm pregnant. And so for 6 years, that's how he treated me. And if he allowed me to use the car at all, because there were times he would just, even if he knew I was going out, he would run and get the car before, the keys just before I leave. And say, you have to fix the car, you had somewhere to go. And so environments like that, totally unsupportive, you know. My environment was so toxic and unsupportive. Everything I tried to do, all the business, I think I spoke about this before that I started, he sabotaged. The last one would have been in 2007. I had a courier business where persons would call me and I would go and pick up from the family island and pick up their items and send it to them. He went in the hood of the car, said he went to change the water or put water in it, left the cover off it, made a long run. Long story short, car run hot. He came with the wrecker. He was waiting for me to call, and he pulled the car up to the wall, and that stayed there for 2 years. So for 2 years I was stuck in my house. From 2007 to 2009, I went nowhere. Didn't have no ride, just in the house with the children. And I was started a daycare. And again, trying to make money while I was home. And when he realized I was being paid, he stopped taking our daughter to school. So I had to stop keeping the children because now I had to catch a bus to take her to school. So that was the kind of things that he did, right? Like I said before, when I got pregnant with my son, well, he wanted to keep my money. But I got and I bought a washing machine. So, but prior to that, I would have to, when we first got married, I used to walk to the wash house. And I had to pay for the laundry, you know. So when you're in this kind of environment, I began to look like I was being beaten because I was so distressed. I lost so much weight. This collarbone, I have a photo hanging in my office. This bone here, you could have poured water here. And people were wondering, my sister came in 2005 and she asked me how I got so small. I said, I don't know. I don't know. So unsupportive, so very negatively critical. I became numb to pain. That's why, like I said, the burn, I didn't feel it. I know of 2 good Christian women who died in their marriage due to domestic violence that did not involve physical abuse, but verbal, psychological, economical, spiritual abuse. I remember one lady, she was so embarrassed. She had a lot of hair. I had a lot of hair at the office, at the job, at the school, and she had a lot. It was just 2 of us that had a head full of hair. I remember one time my ex-husband came to me with a scissors, like he was going to cut my hair. And her hair felt bald. Her hair became bald like this. She had to wear a wig because of how her husband was treating her. She was ashamed. you know, and she eventually died. But she told me she was ashamed. She couldn't leave. She couldn't leave. And he used to call all kind of names, make fun of her, call her fat and everything else. And I know my ex-husband used to make fun of me, try to embarrass me, things I said to him in private. He had no pleasure sharing publicly. He had no problem sharing it publicly. So sometimes you don't have to use physical force to kill somebody. You can kill their spirit. And that is what my ex-husband was trying to do to me. He's trying to break me down from my spirit. He would stop me from going out, doing the things that I like. You know, going out, didn't want me to go out and do ministry. I had to sneak to go to the hospital to pray for people. You know, this was the things that gave me joy. He knew I loved, like I wrote sermons. I remember one time I took it to him and he was jealous, like poems that I wrote, unsupported for actors. It was nothing, but I wanted to go back to school. Absolutely no support. You know, you kill someone's spirit, kill their desire for life. Make it that they just don't see no reason to live. You understand me? You're just existing. And you have men to do that because they want to be with another woman. And one of my former college mates, her husband was a minister in Church of God. I went to her funeral in 2005 wearing a size 4 or 5 skirt. And I said in her funeral, because I knew of her situation, and I remember her saying to him, I heard she had said to him that you want me to die, you can get your wish. And all of that made me tell my ex-husband, Charlie, ain't gonna be me. And I remember sitting in her funeral in Church of God auditorium, and the woman who gave the answer, I knew her, said a lot of things about her as a teacher, as a mother, the kind of how she was supportive, how she helped people. The only thing she said about her as a wife is that she was a long-suffering wife. That was the last sentence she said about her as a wife. And when she said that, everybody in the auditorium, full, because he was a minister, was talking and talking and talking, because he treated her bad. Just like me, she used to be walking about, he driving about in the car, and she walking about. We had car, my husband used to buy and sell car, and I didn't have any. When my son born, my son was 12 pounds, 10 ounces. And when he was a month, I had to take him to the clinic. He was 16 pounds. I woke up early that morning and told him I have to take the baby to the clinic. And he went in the bathroom. When he came out, I went in the bathroom. When I came out, he was gone. I had to catch a bus with my 4-year-old and my 16-pound baby to the clinic. Okay, so I want to look at the other forms of abuse, domestic violence. So different forms of domestic violence, right? You have physical abuse, which we all know, and seemingly love. You know, this is the one we think is the only reason to leave a relationship. Physical abuse, threatening or physical assault, including punching, choking, hitting, pushing, and shoving, throwing objects, smashing objects, damaging property, assaulting children, and injuring pets. Sexual abuse, any unwanted sexual contact, including rape. I want the men to hear that. Sexual abuse, any unwanted sexual contact, including rape. So it doesn't matter what you feel and how you think she playing hard to get and all this other kind of stuff. If she says no and she's not interested, she could have been your wife 100 years. Leave her alone. You go over in the corner and call Paul. You and Paul talk about that, but you leave her alone, because it must be a reason. And if it consists, even then you can find out why. And if if it persists, then maybe you can suggest counseling or something. But you have no right to grab her up and force her and slam her down. Social abuse, isolating partner from friends and or family, denying partner access to the telephone, controlling and restricting partner's movements when going out. I experienced that. He told me he didn't want me. He wouldn't let me go to church. My laptop, he changed the password. I couldn't get on my laptop. And for 3 years, I couldn't get in my Facebook. And my cell phone, he used to check that. Never wanted me to have any access to the phone. In fact, the house phone, he disconnected. He went and disconnected it. And didn't want me to go out to my family. My sisters didn't like that, you know. Didn't want me to go out socially at all. You understand me? I remember a time we went out socially, and he always accused me of wanting man's attention. But when we went out socially, he would always be in the front. And so one time we went Paradise Island, and I guess it was a work or some man said something to me. And when he heard, he turned around and, that's my wife, and he getting revenge on rage. And the man was shocked because he way up and I'm behind, so he didn't know we were together. And the man said, "You all together?" And I was like, "Yeah, here we are." And socially when we went out, if we went out to dinner, because my ex-husband and I, like I said, didn't have conversation. So like on a birthday, we went out for occasions, like birthday, his birthday, my birthday. And we eat, and there was absolutely no conversation at the table. If we went out to a church event, he went for exactly 2 hours. He would sit down, it don't matter how long that lasted, and he can look at his watch, and once that ended, it was 2 hours, he would say, I'm ready to go, time to go. So it got to the place where eventually I started going out without him. You know, I had to get to the place where if I was going out, I would tell him as I was leaving. So my marriage began to cause me to act in a way that was not me. Because I believe in respect. I'm big on respect. But his treatment of me socially and trying to isolate me became so much that I had to now use reverse psychology on him. You understand me? If I tell him I'm leaving 3 o'clock, 2:45 or 5 minutes to 3 to take the key and go out. So I stopped telling him. In the house, he was always in the front room and I'm in the bedroom. We were never in the same space at the time. So if I'm mostly in the bedroom, me, because he watching the TV, he controlled the TV. If he came home, I was watching TV, he turned it off. So I would get dressed, and as I'm leaving, I said, I'm going out, and I would walk. And that's how I had to do with him. Which is not good, you know. Economic abuse, exerting control over household or family income by preventing the other person's access to finances and financial independence. Like I already spoke about this, he didn't want me to have no money. And so he found ways after I refused to let him just control my money or did not give him my money like he expected. Whenever I got Christmas bonus, he used to come, like December now, Christmas bonus. We need this. You need to use your Christmas bonus to buy this. Well, I used to say, what you do with your Christmas bonus? Oh, my money. His money was his money. You understand me? But that was his way of trying to control my money. So I told him, no, I have other things to do with my money. Oh, it was only a suggestion. I said, okay. You understand? But every time, if he knew I had an issue, he would come and he have a reason for me to spend my issue. When we first got married, I started saving a savings account for both of us. And he came to the point where he only put so much money in it, but he wanted to use all of it. In fact, the last $400 that was on the account, I took it and bought the same front set. Yeah, I had this all these years. This is a 100% wooden front room set. And I went and I bought this. So when he came back that same day, I need $400. I said, Charlie, no more money on that account. Just for me to get something. You understand me? When I took the $400, paid on this, and closed the account, and I had to start saving separately on my own. Spiritual abuse, denying or manipulating religious beliefs or practices to force victims into subordinate roles or to justify other forms of abuse. And spiritual abuse experience, because like I said, if I was home praying, I remember one time I was home praying, and he came in the room, I was kneeling to our bed, and he lifted me on the side. If I didn't fast and pray, my ex-husband was good, but once I was fasting and praying, he had a problem. He had a problem with it, And so, in order for me to go out, and the reason he and I got married was because we were supposed to do ministry together. And when I had opportunity to go out, like when the father spoke to me about prison, going into the prison, I talked with him, and he commanded me, "Sir, I command you as the head of this house, you are not to go." And I was crushed. This was when we first got married. And the Lord said to me, "This is what you did. You put what I had placed in you in the hands of him." Understand me? Who didn't have a heart for the Most High. And the father told me to leave it. And exactly 1 year later, someone went to him and said to him, "Aren't you interested in prison ministry?" And he said, "No, no, no, no. He could never remember her name, but she interested in prison ministry." And that's how I was able to go into the prison. Did not want me to do anything. So for about 3 years or so, I went into the hospitals on Sunday doing visiting hours to pray. And I would just say to him, "I have to go out. I have to go somewhere." I never said to him, "I'm going to the hospital to pray." Because he would have done something to the car or something. You know? And he used that same thing like most men, submit. Oh, you want to miss it. You want to miss it. You want to admit it. If you disagree with anything they say, you are not submitting to them. And this is what a lot of men use to control a woman. You understand me? A lot of men. I know one of the things when the father began to speak to me about his law and the Sabbath, I went to him, "Why aren't we keeping the Sabbath?" And he got angry with me. But when I moved back in 2011 and I'm now keeping the Sabbath and calling Yah by his name, he said to me, "I know the truth." I said, "What do you mean you know the truth?" "I know what Constantine still said. I know that the history they change. I know the truth." You understand me? But he acted as if I was just being rebellious when I was going to him, asking him things that the Father was saying to me. Because I kept saying to him, the Father is saying to me that we are to keep his commandments. And he would be, acting like, "Oh, you just need, why you have to question everything? Why you have to question?" That's spiritual abuse. He knew the truth. You understand me? But he did not want me to walk in truth because he chose, and that's what he said, "I choose to follow this way." I knew the truth, he said, but I choose to follow this way. So once the Father was leading me to the truth and showing me the truth, and I'm going to him as my husband, he was acting, denying it or acting like I'm just being rebellious by asking questions and not following. And this is why the Father said to me in 2009, "Do what you have not done. You always let go of me. Let go of them." I tell you, sometimes you gotta let it go. And because I said to the Father, I can't serve you. I said, either you, the marriage, my husband, the marriage, or the church have to go. I said, one of y'all gotta go. And he said to me, "Let go of them." And I let go of my marriage, and I let go of the religion. Sometimes you gotta let it go. You gotta find out what it is that's hindering you, that's keeping you in a position that's destroying you, that's preventing you from fulfilling the purpose on your life, and you got to let it go. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. And I thank the Most High that I listened. That was June 7th of 2009. I drove from that church I went straight to my house. And I stopped to the food store, pick up boxes, and I went on my back. And he was like, "Oh, you leaving for real now? You leaving for real?" I let it go. And I moved. And sometimes you gotta let it go because my marriage was hindering me from serving the Most High. It was hindering me from serving Yah. We live in a culture of abuse. Existing in a toxic, abusive relationship is acceptable. Leaving is unacceptable. You understand me? No one around me encouraged me to leave. They told me to stay and pray. God can fix it. He can fix it or move it, all kind of stuff. They didn't encourage me to leave. Like I said, my prayer partner, and she meant well, I guess. didn't say to leave. Every time I was going to leave, she came and tell me, let's fast and pray. He could be a good husband for you. But in 2009, when she saw the state I was in mentally, emotionally, she apologized to me. You understand me? She apologized because she said she thought he would be a good husband. But I realized I was in therapy for years because I was asking myself why I allow other people to define what was good for me. You understand me? I allow other people to tell me to stay in a marriage that they themselves probably would not have stayed in. In fact, somebody said that. Oh, that maybe you could do that. That's your cup, but for me, I'll throw it out. You understand me? So, even though I wanted to leave, oh, that's your cup. God wants you to go through this. God trying to do something in you and everything. You understand me? But they wasn't going to go through it. So they're not going to tell you to leave. I asked someone before when they told me the boss, God hates the boss. I said, does he hate the boss more than he loved me? You understand me? Leaving is unacceptable, especially if he's not hitting you. Most of our intimate relationships are toxic. Most of our intimate relationship between man and woman, and we are seeing it now because we are having all of these, just like I said, and the dream I had in July, increase in relational violence. We have had a lot of relational violence with this one chop up the next one and the next one chop up because we have a culture of toxic violence, toxic relationships, where we are abusing each other with our mouths, and then now it's turning deadly. You understand? Because now we're using force. It seems as if we can't function in a happy, healthy relationship, respecting each other as adults. We always have to be combative and argumentative. We can't accept opposing, can't seem to accept opposing views. Many women in the Christian church are being psychologically abused. My friend who's a doctor, when she went to Thingham, she told me how many Christian women, pastor wives, went to the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center secretly for counseling. Many women who are in religious, spiritual settings are being abused. And that's what I wanted to say. Many of you who are spiritual, like myself, because they use this thing or submit, and oh, a woman's supposed to be silent and a woman this, that's abuse. Just the Most I never told no woman not to speak. Never. You understand me? The Most High didn't create a woman to be underneath a man, to be subordinate to a man. And you have men want you submit to them, but they can't submit to the Most High. And I'm not saying not to submit. I say submit to Yah first, and let Him tell you how you are to move in these toxic relationships. Abuse. The Bible has been used as a tool to abuse women for years and years, and still today. Women submit, they say. Don't talk back. Don't ask questions. Just do what you're told. That's psychological abuse. That's control. That's dominating. And the Most High never intended a man to dominate each other, much less his wife. The young generations has now taken the culture of domestic violence to a low, deadly level. They now have a phrase, my ride and die, which means in it to the end. Why? Because the generations before us and the ones before me have done a poor job of demonstrating that any form of domestic violence is unacceptable. We have done a poor job, and we have sent the message that it is acceptable to stay in a toxic, abusive relationship. We have sent the message that it is okay to cuss each other and to call each other names and to speak down to each other, and then you want to talk about you having sex, you making love. Understand? Because so many of our young people like myself were burdened in domestic violence, cussing and fussing and still having sex. You understand? They now think that this behavior is normal, and so you should just stay. You should be my ride and die, and if you don't get hanging with me to the end, then you didn't love me in the first place. Love begins with self. You better learn to love yourself. That's what I had to do. I had to learn to love me. I looked at my ex-husband and told him, I deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy, and I deserve to be happy. You understand? That is what they saw. They saw all the fussing and the cussing, but you stay in it. We are now to the level of the animals. We're going to a whole low. We down now to the we name the animals, but now we are on the same level as them. The partner dies instead of leaving. Because you know, the animal king, and they ain't about no leaving. You understand? They bite you up, eat you up. They say the black widow spider. After she then get what she need from the man, she's eat him. But that's where we are now. You understand? That is where we are now. That's why now we're experiencing all kind of cutlass being used, chopping up each other, chopping up. Because that is the culture that we have nurtured. And we think it's okay. You understand? We think it's acceptable. So for me now, who have learned to love myself and I've set boundaries, I was told by someone, I think I'm white. Oh, you think you're a white woman? I have one of my good elderly friends who tell me they can't see me marrying no one else but a white man because of the way I now conduct myself. I got married having boundaries and understanding who I am. But because I stayed in it. You understand me? I tried to adapt and I tried to conform. You understand me? It caused me to almost lose myself. But I thank the Most High for His grace, for His deliverance, for causing me to listen. I remember one morning the Ruah woke me up. When I got up, he said, listen to what they are saying to you. He said, the people around you are watching you be destroyed. Stop talking to them. Don't talk to nobody. Don't tell anyone anything. I put in for legal separation. He said, go and take it out and don't tell no one nothing. He said, go to the crisis center. That's how I got going to the crisis center. Don't talk to nobody. So I had to listen to the spirit of the Most High in me, and that's how I got out of the situation I put myself in. Because the Most High didn't put me in my marriage. I walk in that. I didn't listen to the Father was showing me the character of my husband. But I kept saying, oh, at least he don't drink and he don't smoke and he don't womanize. But the Father was showing me he's selfish and he's very mean. He's narcissistic or narcissistic. You see what I'm saying? But I couldn't see that. I was comparing him with someone else. The man who I was with before him who was a womanizer. But that man didn't want me catching a bus. That man took me everywhere he went. He loved me to go to the hairdresser and get my hair done. He didn't have no problem taking me to Paradise Island and having me sit in a center table. You understand? He referred to me as his African princess. But my ex-husband never gave me a compliment. Never told me I was beautiful. But he got angry when other men admired my hair. You understand? He never told me when I was dressed, I look nice, I look lovely. But he got angry when we went out and other men gave me that compliment. So, I hope this has been encouraging to you. I hope it's been enlightening and informative to you. I hope you now understand that I hope you were able to look at the relationship that you're in, and if any of those forms of abuse I described fits you, if you see yourself in any of them, I want to encourage you to let it go. Get out of it. Leave. Do not stay. That's not the Father's best for you. The Father intended us that our partner is that we are to help each other, that we are to support each other, that we are to build each other up. So if you're in a marriage that is breaking you down, that is not the Most High's best for you. That is not His will for you. You understand me? And I want to encourage you to let it go. Allow Yah to heal you. And listen, I think the reason why people don't say to a woman to leave is because you go out and you get involved in another relationship. You understand me? Which cause you to repeat the cycle. Leave and allow yourself to heal. And if you're leaving because you truly want to serve the Most High, you wouldn't end up in a relationship on where you are committing sexual immorality. You understand me? But I think I'm gonna let me say it while I'm talking. You know, you don't we get in these relationships too quickly. I've been divorced now for 8 years. And the best 8 years of my life has been these 8 years that I've given myself time to heal. You understand me? I allow the Father to show me the areas of my life that what I needed to work on in me. I spent 8 years working on me, defining or redefining who I am, building up on the areas that, strengthening those areas and that I needed strengthening, and acknowledging my weak points and what I needed to let go. I spent this time working on me, making me better. You understand me? And that's why I can be comfortable now as a single woman. I am happy single. I said to somebody recently, yes, one day this week, I don't need to be married. I don't see the need for me to be married. I'm doing fine financially. Sexually, I've been able to control my sexual needs. I went on a fast. In fact, I told the Father, take it away. I went in the shower singing a song for me to live right. Take it away so I can live right and I can live holy. You understand me? And I smiled the other day. I said, that's one of the quickest prayers He has answered for me. Right? So I am focused now on, like Paul said, the unmarried woman is concerned about the things of the Most High, and the married woman are concerned about the things of us. But I am now concerned about the things of the Most High, and I'm enjoying my life. I am enjoying my freedom. I'm enjoying the peace that I feel. And so I have no desire right now to marry. You understand me? And I have it before the Father if it's His will, but I'm not praying for a husband. In fact, I'm afraid to be married because I don't want any man interfere with my relationship with the Most High. I don't want nobody to interfere with what I'm doing and the work that I know the Father calls me to do. I don't want any man put no demands on me and it would cause me to have to choose between him and Yah. And when I'm ready to go out, right now I could jump up and go at free will. If I'm married, I gotta be concerned that my husband needs me to do this and he needs me to do that, he needs me to do next. I am not prepared for that. So I am enjoying being a single woman. You understand me? And the only reason for me to be married now is to have sex, and that ain't a priority for me. That's not a priority for me at all. I'm good. I am good. Praise Yah. And I thank the Father I got to that place. So, but if you are not happy, and if you serving you in your marriage and you can't even serve the Most High, and you like me, you finding that you start doing disrespectful stuff, things that is not in your character. You find things that, your quality of life, your health, everything is on the decline. I want you to consider leaving and giving yourself time to heal, and allow the Father to heal you, your marriage, and your partner. If you don't want to really end your marriage, leaving don't mean you have to get a divorce. Leaving means that you can separate until you can get yourself together. You understand me? But do not stay in a toxic relationship. Do not stay in a domestic violence situation. It is not good for you. It's not good for your children. And it's not the Father's will for you. It's not the Father's will for any of us. It was never His will that we experience any kind of abuse in our marriage. It is not acceptable, and it's very difficult to have sex with someone who is not talking to you, who's not showing you love and affection. Some women can do it, but I know I couldn't. And if the TV wasn't on, child, I needed the TV on to keep my mind occupied. And that's not how it's supposed to be. And I knew that the Father was not pleased with me and my ex-husband's sexual relationship, because I can promise you I didn't respond. I didn't leave at them. I tell him, if you have to, then you do it, but And it's not like a gift. You wasn't giving me nothing. I couldn't give him nothing. So I used to tell him, turn on the TV. And that's not good, but that's where we were. It made no difference to him. He did what he had to do, and he was fine. Because in his mind, I was made for him. So that was a part of my duty to him. You understand? So, which is not how it should be, but I guess that's maybe where some people are. Maybe some people still don't agree that a woman should enjoy sexual pleasure. I don't know. But anyway, man or female, if you find yourself in a domestic violence situation, I want to encourage you to let it go. Leave and allow the Father to heal you, because the Most High wants the best for us. He said He would above all that we prosper and be in health as our soul prospered. Okay? I want to leave these words with you. James admonishes us to be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. We are encouraged also to show love to each other, brotherly love, to treat our neighbor as we treat ourselves. And if you can't do that in your relationship, maybe it's time for you to let it go. Shalom.